Good evening, I am Emma Davis and this is Prime Business. Here are the details. The Ghana Revenue Authority has posted some 68 billion cedis as part of its 2024 mid-year revenue target. This represents 47% of its total annual revenue target for the year, which is 146 billion cedis. According to the Commissioner General of the Authority, Julie Essiem, the authority will focus on customer satisfaction as part of a strategy to meet its revenue target by the close of the year.
According to the Ghana Revenue Authority, there was a shortfall in January to March, which had 12.3%, 6.3%, and 12.7% respectively. Commissioner General of the Ghana Revenue Authority, Julie Essiem, said the authority started to rebound from April and exceeded target by 1.9%, then exceeded again in May by 1.4%, and subsequently a significant achievement of the positive increase of 21.2% in June.
The month of January, we fell below target by 12.3%. February showed a shortfall of 6.3%. March suffered a similar trend of an increased negative deviation of 12.7%. We started to rebound from April and exceeded target by 1.9% that month, then exceeded again in May by 1.4%, and subsequently a significant achievement of the positive increase of 21.2% in June. As we can see, the outstanding performance in June was supported the turnaround to help with a positive half-year performance of the 0.2% of the total half-year budget. Ladies and gentlemen, as a new top management team,
she further indicated that the authority acknowledges the headwinds during an election year period, but is poised to work to meet its target by the close of the year.
We came on board in April of this year, very much aware of the impact of an election year and acknowledge the headwinds that trends such a period, which we all know. And as such, already trailing from a negative first quarter, the leadership team discerned and agreed a very focused 90-day plan to ensure we were strategically focused and very deliberate in turning the tide of a negative first quarter. Now, specifically, we focused on the following. First, actualizing very specific key revenue measures, focusing on staff welfare, changing the face of the GRA by moving from an enforcement approach to a very more collaborative approach. Stakeholder engagement as well by focusing really on our key stakeholder, taxpayers, as partners. A key component of our 90-day plan on revenue was the rollout of our flagship electronic VAT invoicing system, which was successfully transitioned into the first phase registration of our top 600 taxpayers, accounting for 80% of VAT contributions.
The Ghana Revenue Authority exceeded its mid-year budget target by 0.2%. James Eshen's report for Joy Business.
Meanwhile, economist Dr. Edu Sarkodie is urging the Ghana Revenue Authority to provide data on sectors underperforming when it comes to revenue mobilization. Speaking to Joy Business, he said, despite recording such impressive figures, it's still important to determine the underperforming sectors in order to find measures to improve revenue mobilization from those sectors.
Disaggregate to know which of the sectors are growing faster and which ones are growing slowly, so that it will inform policymakers on which areas to actually emphasize more. Like you said, if it's from international trade, or it's from taxes, or from non-tax revenue, is it from royalties, is it from e-levy, or which angle is it coming from? So we have to disaggregate. So we need the data. They must provide us with the details so that we will interrogate it and plot the graph and know which areas are growing faster and which areas are growing slowly, so that policymakers can intervene to address whatever issue there is. But I think reading the report, they made mention of the fact that sometimes they have changed from enforcement to compliance, like, talking to the people, encouraging the people to pay, and simplifying the tax system for are the taxpayers. I think all these things are good, whether it's international trade tax or domestic trade tax. All these things are good. You have to simplify it and make the payments easy. It shouldn't cost the payer so much to pay tax. If it costs the person so much to pay tax, the person will not pay. If it takes more time, this person spends more time in paying, they will not pay. So let's leverage digitization. I've made this point, I'm making the point again, that government has spent so much on investing in digitization or digital infrastructure. It is time to leverage that for revenue collection, because digitization will remove the middlemen, interpersonal relations, and reduce corruption.
Away from revenue mobilization, the National Petroleum Authority is urging stakeholders in the petroleum downstream, especially dealers in the liquefied petroleum gas industry, to reassess their opposition to the newly introduced cylinder recirculation model. Speaking at this year's Ghana International Petroleum Conference in Accra, Chief Executive of the NPA, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, appealed for more support to make the policy a success.
The Ghana International Petroleum Conference deliberated on policy interventions that will develop the downstream petroleum industry nationwide. The idea of the cylinder recirculation model got a pushback from some stakeholders despite the government's assurance to deal with all concerns before going ahead with the policy. According to the Chief Executive of the National Petroleum Authority, Dr. Mustafa Abdul Hamid, the policy is being implemented in other jurisdictions as the safest form of distributing liquefied petroleum gas for domestic use.
I would urge you to reassess your opposition to the CRM policy, because all across the world, very few countries still adopt a filling station concept as far as LPG distribution is concerned. All across the entire West Africa region, Cote d'Ivoire, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Togo, everywhere else, people are running the CRM model. I don't think that Ghana can afford to continue to lag behind. I think that it is important that we catch up with modern trends and to adopt to the flow.
Minister of State at the Energy Ministry, Herbert Crapper, told journalists that government will continue engagements to get everyone on board. He believes that input from dealers will help shape the policy better.
The cylinder recirculation model, if we're able to sustain it and it succeeded, would help to remove all the hazards of the alternative fuel sources for cooking, and also help us to build a cleaner environment and also ensure the health of the population. We can look at the question of taxes. The NPA, as you know, built up prices, putting into consideration the value chain and the build-up in terms of what has accrued to determine the final price. But I don't think that the private sector's concern is one that should be overlooked. It requires that the ministry brings the players around the table to listen to the concerns and address them. And
this year's Ghana International Petroleum Conference is under the theme Petroleum Downstream, Building a Future for Growth, Efficiency and Sustainability.
Majority of bank customers say they like WhatsApp as the preferred virtual medium to communicate with their banks. This was one of the major findings captured in the 2024 banking survey put together by accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers. The report also revealed that most customers want to spend less than 10 minutes in the banking halls for various transactions. Again, they wanted staff of banks to have more knowledge about their products and services.
Addressing the challenging macroeconomic environment.
Now, the Bank of Ghana says it will further embark on strategic mechanisms to engage the small and medium-scale sector. Governor Dr. Ernest Addison, however, urged other industry stakeholders to be heavy on investments for the sector to increase the country's export. He was speaking at the SME Growth and Opportunity Summit in Accra.
Apart from addressing the challenging macroeconomic environment, the government also committed under the program to addressing gaps in governance and anti-corruption frameworks to enhance accountability and integrity whilst promoting inclusive growth through improving the business environment, enhancing export competitiveness and integration, strengthening Ghana's FDI attractiveness, streamlining sectoral and industrial policies, improving access to finance, promoting entrepreneurship while upskilling labor force to help address skills mismatches, as well as advancing the digitalization agenda for financial inclusion. On its part, the Bank of Ghana has stepped up efforts to bring inflation under control, eliminate monetary financing of the budget, and rebuild foreign currency buffers. The bank is also taking steps to implement comprehensive strategy to rebuilding the capital buffers of financial institutions post-DDEP. Distinguished guests, these measures are beginning to yield positive results. Signs of stabilization and recovery in the Ghanaian economy are emerging. Real GDP growth ended 2023 at 2.9%, above the revised target of 2.3%. In the first quarter of this year, GDP growth has come out stronger than expected at 4.7%. Inflation, which peaked at 54.1% in December 2022, has decelerated faster than expected and reached 22.8% in June 2024.
Public relations professionals have been urged to consider the emergence of technology to innovate and embrace some form of creativity in their line of duty. This is critical to meet the growing demand of the general public as more policies are being implemented. Deputy Minister for Information, Sylvester Tete, made the call when addressing stakeholders at this year's World PR Day celebration and summit in Accra.
As part of effort to mark this year's World Public Relations Day in Ghana, Global Media Alliance, with support from the Ministry of Information, hosted a PR summit to help shape the practice of public relations in today's world. Themed "The Future of PR in a Changing World," the summit was used to discuss how PR practitioners can navigate the evolving landscape and continue to drive meaningful engagement and positive change through digital tools. Addressing the summit, Deputy Minister for Information, Sylvester Tete, called for more innovation and creativity in communication practice.
As we celebrate the World Public Relations Day, let me reaffirm our commitment to the highest standard of communication. Let us recognize the hard work and dedication of PR practitioners who tirelessly work behind the scenes to shape public perception and foster trust with their various stakeholders. To the PR professionals and communicators gathered here today, I salute your efforts. Your work is instrumental in helping the government achieve its goals and serve its citizens effectively. You are the unsung heroes who bridge the gap between policy and the public, ensuring that our messages are heard and understood. As we move forward, let us embrace innovation and creativity in our communication strategies. Let us continue to build strong relationships with the media, recognizing them as partners in our mission to inform and educate the public.
Speaking to welcome the participants, Chief Director for Global Media Alliance, Emma Wenani, highlighted the importance of the summit to industry players.
The day aims to build a unified global agenda towards making the world understand and utilize PR efficiently and effectively. This year's global theme, "The Future of Public Relations in a Changing World," reflects the dynamic nature of the PR profession and the need to adapt to unprecedented challenges and transformative shifts. In line with this global theme, GMA has curated events and activities that highlighted these crucial aspects.
The World Public Relations Day is a global celebration of PR practitioners every 16th July.
Insurance practitioners are urging small and medium companies to protect their goods and property by embracing insurance, explaining the need for SMEs to sign onto insurance Chief Executive of Aliyah Insurance Brokers, Stephen Kwating-Yeboah, stated that the only way to plan for uncertainties is by insuring goods and property to avoid unforeseen losses in the future. He spoke to Joy Business at a seminar to build capacity of selected SMEs as part of its SME Month celebration.
What we identified is that the SMEs, they lack the support when it comes to insurance. Most of the time, insurance is very complex. There are contractual issues, documentations, and other things there. So their faith in insurance is really down, because they don't really have faith in insurance, because they don't get support when they buy the policy, what type of policy they have to buy, and when they have a claim, how do they resolve the claim? Because at the end of the day, if they don't insure, what will happen is that all the things that we are doing and everything there, you have one fire outbreak in the marketplace and they come to zero. So we don't want that to happen. And we've realized, even as an industry, that the reason why we are not growing is just because the people are in the SME sector. More than 70% of them are contributing to GDP. And we are contributing only 1.1 because we are targeting only the big corporates. But the things have changed now. So we want to come down to SMEs. We want to understand their problems and provide them tailor-made packages.
Away from insurance, the national president of the Peasant Farmers Association, Wipia Awal Ado, is urging the government to increase investment in strategic infrastructure needed to transform the nation's agricultural sector. According to Awal, about 80% of farmers have not been included in the second phase of the Planting for Food and Jobs program. He made these remarks at the National Stakeholder Validation Workshop on the Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 in Accra.
Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, in collaboration with the Ministry of Food and Agriculture and GIZ, held a national validation workshop in Accra to assess a report on the implementation of the Planting for Food and Jobs program Phase 2. In an interview with Joy Business, the national president of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, Awa Aduwala Ado, revealed that as of June 2024, about 80% of farmers have not been included in the second phase of the program.
As at June, we observed that around 80% of the farmers have not been registered and their farms have not been mapped, which is a source of worry to us because the rainy season has started. If you go to many places, people are planting, they need the inputs to be able to grow food. So this is a source of worry to us in the association because our members are calling on us every day for the farm inputs. And then again, we are also looking at the registration process, which is very slow. We earlier made a call that government can involve national service personnel in the registration process because the MOFA extension officers are not many in this country. This is a challenge we are all aware. Number two, they don't have the logistics. You go to some places, they are complaining about motorbikes and fuel to be able to reach out to the farms.
Awal Ado further urged government to intensify agricultural investment to encourage youth involvement.
We are calling on government. If you have to invest in irrigation, in mechanization, and in technology, this is what will attract the youth into agriculture. If you don't do this, you will not expect people, especially young people and others have even gone to school, to come into the agriculture sector to continue with the difficult tax. So if government really want to reduce the unemployment, that is why we earlier were telling them a number of programs have been rolled out, they are unsustainable. After some time, the programs die out. But the agriculture sector is where Ghana has competitive advantage. So if we invest in irrigation, in technology, we can attract the youth to this area, and eventually we're going to grow food to this nation. Mind you, I indicated that we are the backbone of the nation's economy, the smallholder farmers, and then we also produce food to ensure that Ghana is self-sufficient when it comes to food production.
The Planting for Food and Jobs Phase 2 was launched in March 2024 by the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to address the challenges encountered during the program's initial phase.
The Bono Regional Minister, Justina Owusu Banahene, has said the active private sector investment in women's agribusiness initiatives will create inclusive value chains and ensure fair opportunities for farmers. Speaking at the Agri-House Foundation Forum for Women in Agriculture in Sunyani, the minister said such strategic investments will complement the government's efforts to address the challenges faced by women in agribusiness. Precious Semevo has more.
AgriHouse Foundation's 6th Women in Food and Agricultural Leadership Forum in Sunyani brought together about 600 women farmers in the Bono region, trained in general agronomic practices, farm management, and the exhibition of produce, among others. The forum, supported by Yara Ghana and Global Affairs Canada, was themed Overcoming the Barriers to Women Agribusiness Development, the Role of Stakeholders. The executive director of the foundation, Alberta Nanecha Akosa, noted the growing involvement of young women in agriculture.
This is the first time that we've been able to have women participation, especially within the Gold in the Soil Awards, that we have the age bracket from 28 years. It's the lowest we've ever had. But it's a strong indication that young women are beginning to appreciate going into farming and, most importantly, playing key roles within the value chain. But I think that advocacy plays a key role in advancing or bringing young women into the agricultural space. And this is a major platform for advocacy.
The farmers, including the physically challenged, stressed the need to clear the bottlenecks impeding their activities, a situation the Bono Regional Director of Agriculture, Dennis Abugri Amenga, said requires stakeholders' support to address the gender-related challenges.
Could increase production by 20 to 30% if they had the same access to productive resources that their male counterparts do get. It is therefore incumbent on extension service providers, development partners, and non-governmental organizations to map up strategies that will address the gender-related challenges in farming, so as to attend to both practical and strategic needs of women farmers and promote women access to communal land, essential services, and resources that will make them productive.
Despite the government's efforts, Bono Regional Minister Justina Osubanahene said the active private sector investment in women's agribusiness initiatives will address the challenges faced by women.
Our goal is to remove structural barriers and ensure that women have the same opportunities as their counterparts to excel in their endeavor and the field of agriculture. However, the government's efforts and actions alone are not enough to effect holistic solutions to the challenges faced by the women in agribusiness. In this regard, we need the active involvement of the private sector to invest in women's agribusiness initiatives and to create inclusive value chains that offer fair opportunities for all.
Some deserving farmers were recognized, with Nanaya Esuama Yeboah the first, Jasihima of Atuna in the German South, adjudged the winner of the Gold in the Soil Awards to encourage others. Precious Semevo Joy Business, Sunyai.
And I am Emma Davis in our studios here in Kokomlemle, Accra. That's all for tonight on Prime Business. For more news, do log on to myjoyonline.com. Have a good evening.